Hello and welcome back to the Abundantly Rooted Collective. Okay, I'm Hannah. I'm a life coach. I'm a military spouse, and I geek out on all things personal development. One of those things being goal setting. I did a previous video on goal setting, and a lot of you were like, Hannah, I loved it, but I didn't know what to do with myself. There was way too much information and not enough step by step to help me kind of jumpstart creating some goals for myself. So what I spoke on in the last video, I could be going on forever and ever and ever, trying to explain and implement your personal customizable goals. But for now, let's kind of break this down. First of all, this is Captain. Cap. This is Captain. He is our Great Dane Irish Wolfhound mix. And he'll probably just lay here and sleep right next to Mama and tap his tail out of excitement because he knows I'm talking to him. So if you haven't met Captain, this is basically him. Are you my buds? Are you my buddy? I love you. I love you. Okay, so let's dive in. The first step to creating goals for 2020, for this year, something that I really, really, truly believe is there are 4 pillars to health. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the 4 pillars to health are spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. And those are the areas of life that I think are really important to start with because they are the foundation to who you are and what you do and how you live your life. So these are the goals that are going to transform your health, right? So, okay, maybe you don't know where to start with this, but I will kind of break this down. The goal is to create a goal and write it down. It is proven that those who are committed to writing down their goals are more likely to achieve the goal in the long run. So, write down the 4 pillars every single day and remind yourself of the things that you are personally choosing to work on, whether it's that week, that day, or that month. So in each aspect of the goals, we will go into committing to ourselves 3 different things within the goal. So one being something that we are going to do every single day to better our spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical health, something we will do weekly, and something we will do monthly to help get us towards reaching those goals. So the first part of this process is evaluation. So let's start with spiritual. Evaluation of spiritual health. How are you in your spiritual walk? Whatever that looks like for you. For me, personally, I'm a Christian. I believe that spending time reading the Bible and listening to sermons and prayer and worship and listening to podcasts that are centered around Christianity and spiritual growth in your relationship with Jesus, that is something that I personally believe and is a part of my spiritual health. So then I would ask you, or I would ask myself, what will I commit to daily, weekly, and monthly for my spiritual health to be a priority? And then you're going to write these things down. And I'll give you an example. I commit to prayer and devotionals daily, 3 podcasts or sermons weekly, and serving in my local church monthly. So that's just an example of what that would look like in creating the goal. And then give yourself a timeline. When do you want to start these goals? So that's spiritual health. So I'm going to give you a moment to write those things down. While I love on my pups. While I love on my puppy. I love on my puppy. Captain is 3 years old. He just turned 3 last May, so he's actually 3.5. Are you 3.5? You 3.5 years old? You're a big boy. I know. And he is shaggy furred, but he looks like a Great Dane. So anyway, I hope that you've written down those spiritual goals. Now let's flip to mental. So here is the evaluation I really want you to ask yourself when it comes to your mental health. What have you been listening to? What have you been watching? Whether that's a TV show, whether that's listening to specific music. What is it that you are putting into your mind and feeding your mind? What are you dwelling on? What are you thinking about the most? Write those things down. And then I want you to think of your mind as something that you have to feed in order for it to stay healthy and survive. Just like your physical body, your mind is the forefront of where all of your emotions process through. It's what starts your habits, your actions, and ultimately it's what develops in you who you are. And so your mind is a powerful tool. It is a destructive tool at the same time if you aren't feeding your mind properly. So what have you allowed to enter into your mind? Think of it this way. Your mind has a door and you're going to open the door. What are you opening the door to your mind to? Is it fear, anxiety, destructive thought patterns, toxic thoughts, negative self-talk, all of these scenarios of what could happen or the what if scenarios, shaming yourself for whatever reason? What is it that you are constantly feeding your mind? And whatever you're going to feed your mind, it's going to grow. So if you feed your mind toxic things, then toxicity is going to grow. I'm going to ask you, what are you going to commit to daily, weekly, monthly, in order for your mental health to be a priority? I want you to write those things down. For example, here's an example. I commit to speaking affirmations over myself daily, surrounding myself with those who are encouraging weekly, and listening to podcasts and reading books that are beneficial to my mental health monthly. So take a moment and write these things down. This is really important, guys, that you first of all evaluate. Then you ask yourself the questions of where is this at and where do I want it to be? And then you commit to yourself in 3 different ways that you're going to pursue health in those areas and pursue goals in those areas. So the next portion is emotional health. Here's an evaluation. What relationships in your life have been damaging to your emotional health? Have you been using self-control and expressing your emotions? And what is stealing your peace? Emotions they stem from your mind because what you think about ends up becoming words and actions, and that affects your emotions. But also it ultimately affects your heart and how you feel, and emotions can affect your mental health. They can affect your physical health in many ways. Actually, there's this form of therapy called NET therapy, neuro-emotional technique, and your body will actually hold on to different emotions in your organs, and it could damage your physical health. So this is not just damaging up here, it's damaging your whole body, your organs, your internal organs. Emotions are affected by your mindset, but also by the relationships you have and who you surround yourself with. Emotional health requires vulnerability. It requires transparency. It requires boundaries. It requires you having the courage to speak out the things that you are feeling inside in order to heal those things. And it also requires self-care. It requires taking care of yourself. This is how we will thrive in our emotional health, is when we choose to take care of ourselves. So ask yourself the questions: what will I commit to daily, weekly, monthly, in order for my emotional health to be a priority in my life? Ask yourself those questions now and write down. For me, an example would be, I commit to journaling daily, having coffee with a friend weekly, and working on my relationships monthly. Whether that is listening to a podcast on marriage, or listening to a podcast on relationships, or trying to improve my communication by expressing to the most important people in my life what I'm going through and how they can support me. It's important that in your relationships, you don't always just word vomit, but you also give them a form of a role or action, like, can you give me this support this month, this week, this day, whatever. Because most people in your life who are close to you want to help you, and they want to be a part of what's going on in your life, but they don't always know how to help you. So if you're going to be vulnerable with somebody in your life and you're going to ask for their support, make sure you give them a practical way how they can support you. For example, can we just check in with each other once a week for accountability, or check in once a week and just like have hey, this is what's going on, and encourage each other. This is what I need from you. I need you to be present. Or can we get coffee once a week? Give them a practical way that they can be a part of your life and support you. But also understand that they also have emotional health, and they also have to have boundaries. And maybe there are some people in your life that really, really need a boundary from you in order to protect your emotional energy. Okay? All right. So we have worked through spiritual, mental, and emotional. And the last pillar of health is physical. So as far as evaluating your physical health, what have you been avoiding? What have you been avoiding? How is your relationship with nourishing your body with food and exercise? Have you been eating for your body, or have you been eating out of emotional, maybe you're having an emotional time. I know for me, I struggle with emotional eating, where I feel like I'm deserving of the terrible food when I don't feel good. And here's the paradox with that, is that by telling my body that I am deserving of garbage, I am telling my body that I don't care enough about it to give it something that's good. Whew, that hurts, right? That stings. I'm not going to lie. It stings listening to myself speak it out of my mouth. But where do you need to have boundaries with food? And also at the same time, what's your relationship with food? Are you struggling to overcome maybe a past eating disorder? Is it important to you that you don't diet, but you just try to add as many nourishing foods as you can, and you create a mindset around that? Whenever you sit down to eat, you say, thank you, God, for this meal, and thank you that these different foods are going to benefit me because they're full of vitamin whatever, or they're full of iron, or they're full of something that's going to benefit my physical body and give me energy, right? Do you need more wisdom from a doctor? Is it time to go get some blood work done? And believe me, you guys, I am the kind of person that I will not go to the hospital, not go to the doctor if I don't like literally have to. And I have had to heal my trauma from past situations with doctors and with needles and things like that in order to find answers for myself to better my physical body. It's important. If you need to get blood work done, don't wait. Don't hesitate. Just act upon that, right? Your body is a temple. It's what allows you to live out your life, and you need to find taking care of your body as a gift and also a responsibility. It's your responsibility to take care of the body of which God has given you. And when you take care of your body, you can crush the rest of your goals. Why? Because you are well, you are healthy, and health is wealth, my friend. Okay? So, ask yourself, what will you commit to daily, weekly, oh, I love you, and monthly, when it comes to making sure and to ensure that your physical health is a priority? What are those things? Write those things down. Like, for example, I will commit to moving my body daily, sticking to a meal plan weekly, and pursuing blood work or doc's help monthly, and or a physical activity, something that's going to benefit me physically, that's going to take care of my body. Maybe it's a self-care thing. Maybe you want to invest in a massage monthly, or whatever the case is. You must start with these 4 pillars of health as far as goals, because like I said before, health is wealth, but also you must create with the question in mind. You must create goals with the question in mind. What gives me the most energy? Because when you feel your best, when you're more energized, you are more likely to have more motivation. You can create. I don't want to say you will have more motivation, because motivation is something you create. It's not something you just feel, right? So how will I create motivation? I'm going to feed my mind, I'm going to feed my heart, I'm going to feed my body, and I'm going to feed my spirit. The more energized you are, the more motivation you can create to tackle the rest of the goals that you have. So, high five? He doesn't know high five. My other dog does, but he doesn't, huh? You don't. Are you cat? I love you. I love you. Thank you. So guys, if you like this video, if this was helpful to you, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your questions in the comments. So if you have questions for me, if you're feeling like you want to dive a little bit deeper, just reach out and message me. If you're not friends with me already on Instagram, I have a Instagram handle that is, sorry, my Instagram handle is @abundantlyrooted. Go ahead and add me. Let's be friends on Instagram. I'd love to get to know you. Introduce yourself to me so I know that you're there, and I'd love to chat more about goals with you personally. But this is the first video of a series of videos that's going to kind of dive deeper into that first video I did. Again, I'm sorry for overwhelming you with information. Hopefully this was helpful. Please please subscribe to this channel for notifications. Turn your notifications on so you know when another video has been uploaded. Huh? You're a good boy. And then share with your friends. Share with your friends who you are choosing to be accountable to. I have a phone call tomorrow with a friend that I'm really excited about because we are masterminding and we are chatting about our goals for 2020 and what that looks like. Always, always, always do things in community. Don't always try to do things on your own. It's much more fun when you can have somebody to bounce ideas off of, and you can have somebody who's there who's going to cheer you on and keep you accountable. So, like, share, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram, and stay tuned for more videos. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to get into the next portion of the goal setting series. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.